I had it 2-2 going into the fifth, man, and 49-40, whatever the other math is. that's absolutely horrible judging by the not referees, by the judges out there. It's sad to see, because I guess either way it is a loss for Zhang Weili.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're saying that Thug Rose won 4 rounds, like where? Like what? Where? Like I don't see it. It's crazy.
And that's, to me, I'm like, okay, home country advantage. You know, this was in New York, Madison Square Garden. You know, you got a Chinese fighter coming to America, all that, even though she trained in America. Nonetheless, I just felt like this still left it undefinitive. You know what I mean? This still was like, were all our questions answered right here? Because I'm not going to lie to you too, AJ. And here, let me just talk about this verdict before I pull it down. So it does look like it's 47.9 to 47.07 in favor of Rose Namajunas. But what really did it was that round 5 where Rose just got the early takedown and laid on her for a round. Did she do much with the takedown? Absolutely not, which is what's crazy, because this is scored so definitively 10 to 8.91 in favor of Rose Namajunas. So once again, we come back to the age-old, timeless question of, is a takedown without ground and pound and effective striking worth really that much? Because I don't think it does, personally. And but then again, you got to beat the champion to be the champion, and Weili, she just left it a little bit too close. But ultimately here, AJ, is this the Weili that you thought was going to show up against Rose Namajunas? This is the typical Rose that we saw, you know, the great footwork, great movement, great striking. I'm glad she used some of her grappling here, because I knew she'd be a problem with the jiu-jitsu. But Weili looked timid to me. She looked a little like she was relying too much on those calf kicks, like she didn't want to trade because she felt the power of Namajunas and she was scared of getting knocked out again. That was my impression, because when you watch all of the other Weili fights, she's an animal. She's the one on the front foot. She's pressuring. She's doing all that. It felt like Rose had her respect from the very start on this one. Give me your take.
Yeah, I had the exact same thing, man. I thought Zhang Weili looked a little, not necessarily scared, but timid. She knew what could happen if she rushes in, where her normal style is just being the bully, being on the front foot, walking girls down and beating them up. And it was weird to see that not necessarily be part of the game plan. I mean, it was there. She was in that middle zone, that no man's land of like, okay, I'm good enough, I'm close enough to where I can just tag you enough with the shots on the hands. I can get those calf kicks going, but not enough to where you can land your power shot back on me, because I just don't want to be there. But that means I can't land my power shot on you either. It was interesting to see. I was glad to see that Zhang Weili came in and started using the ground game, man. She put that Henry Cejudo camp to work and was doing really, really well on the ground. I was surprised to see it not happen a little bit more in the later rounds, or even getting the reversals, getting the sweeps going, because she just kind of accepted that bottom position for round 5 for the majority of it. And I mean, yeah, the hips work and the hips were moving. You know, she was trying to go for, you know, a triangle choke. She was hitting with the up kicks. But Rose is just too smart and knows that if she just jumps down, goes down in, you can't catch me with the heel on the head. You're going to catch me with your calf. You're going to catch me with your quad, you know, your hamstring. It doesn't hurt as bad. I can just keep going. I can keep this position rocking. So it was interesting to see how different Zhang Weili approached this fight, man, because it wasn't what I was expecting, at least for the stand-up portion. I was expecting her to come in and wrestle a little bit since she was at that Henry Cejudo camp, but the aggression and the dominance that we've come to be aware of Zhang Weili wasn't there, which surprised me a little bit. Derek, what do you think?
I agree with a lot of what you said, man. And, you know, I just felt like the grappling was on point by Rose. It showed how physically strong Weili was in some of those transitions, because there was one point where Weili, she had the body lock on Rose, and you have to be really, really strong for somebody to be able to roll you. And you flip it and you basically stay with them the whole time, and you still end up on the back, right? So I was like, she's so strong. That's incredible. But at the end of the night, Namajunas, I think she had a higher IQ in the grappling, where she was able to make some things happen, to reverse position, to get back on top, grab the back, whatever the case may be. Does it make sense now, AJ, when I was saying that Weili needed to use the clinch? She needed to make things ugly and dirty because she's stronger and she could have more success. It looked like Rose was starting to wilt from that pressure like that, right? Did that make sense right there?
Oh, yeah. If that would have been the case, it would have been a whole nother fight, man, because Zhang Weili definitely had the power, definitely had that pressure style. And if she was able to put Rose against the fence, it could have been a whole nother thing. But Rose, especially in those first couple rounds, we saw Pat Barry. I like the juxtaposition that Pat Barry and Trevor Whitman were taking. Like, Pat was just like, oh, kind of like, oh, we need to get this. And then Trevor Whitman, the ultimate coach, comes in. He's like, "You're having fun, right? Word, cool, man. You doing good." Like, I loved that. It was probably the best thing that Rose could have had going. But if Zhang Weili would have actually put a little bit more pressure, would have been a little bit more of the bully that we used to seeing her be, it could have been a whole nother fight.